All right, here we go again. So the thing I was seeing that was without the other information. I didn't have the information about Bavino being targeted when I had that vision. So, so obviously something somehow this was all orchestrated. So there's some sort of conspiracy going on. Uh, I don't know. The news media is trying to make it look like the two people never met each other. There's no connection whatsoever. There's some sort of connection. Word of mouth, internet. Whether they met each other or not, it's neither here nor there. So you had all those people together. You got to find wherever it's emanating from, a Telegram channel. Uh, sometimes it's just a website. See, this is what I brought up about criminal conspiracies and terrorism and all that. That there's websites out there. The criminal conspiracy laws were created before websites, I believe. Yeah, I'm 100% sure. Right. So there's no official agreement, but so you have to find ways to charge something like that. And I guess material support of terrorism at this point. So if those people all frequented a certain website and it said, if it said something like, or Telegram channel, whatever it is, box them in, ram their cars, because obviously ramming was going on that day. I don't know if the second person maybe was part of that first thing, or they heard it on the news and they decided to do it. But you have to find out, again, the Lexus, or not Lexus, the Nexus, right? And then at this point, anybody running websites, or is that guy running that website, he's full of shit that he didn't do anything wrong, right? And again, that to a certain degree, this might all become material support of terrorism. Well, there's no agreement. They posted on like a bulletin board, like a chat, maybe even in a chat, or there's no real agreement. Actually, there probably is some in some of those chat rooms or messagings, but a lot of times they're just reading about it, and maybe somebody ran a site that everybody went to, and they said, we're going to convoy, we're going to meet up, we're going to, yeah, nobody agrees to it. They just read it, right? Which kind of gets in the way of a criminal conspiracy case. However, at a certain point, it might be material support of terrorism of some sorts or something like that. They're going to end up doing a lot of time in jail, most likely. So stupid. Yeah, it isn't completely happenstance, but the question is, what was the communication? May not be a traditional criminal conspiracy because the internet has a lot of locations where people go and they read it and they get their information, and then they all act together. But a change of vehicles is appropriate because, again, if you're in other vehicles, again, you can't. I don't think we have enough vehicles for everyone, but and then those infantry vehicles. There's other things in mothballs besides the MRAP. I found some vehicle. I forget what it was. It was like some sort of MPs used it at the tail end of Iraq and Afghanistan, I think. But I think there's six spies. You don't want to get it. Really don't want to get to that if you don't have to. You got to find those MRAPs if you can. As far as marked vehicles, I mean, they still probably could figure it out, but I don't know if marked vehicles are appropriate. My thing was like somehow put lights, like something that lights up, like behind something that's behind the windows, LED, and then that has your agency emblems on it. You can even send a message, right? You do because I have an LED thing in my back window. I haven't used it in a long time, but from my phone I can type any message I want from the back of my, to read out in the back of my back window. But you can put that on side windows, and you could also compute into like a graphic, right? That's something to think about for the future, where you can turn an unmarked vehicle into a marked vehicle in a second with just like emblems. I mean, obviously a light does the same thing. But there's got to be information on the internet on all this. It's got to be criminal chatter. For a second, I thought today was next Monday. That's why I told him to turn the gas on tomorrow. For some reason, I thought it was like going to be whatever it is, Labor Day or whatever this thing is, Memorial Day, whatever this is. I don't know what holidays coming up. Right. I got 20 days to move all my stuff in before the next billing for the storage unit, so I'm not worried. Right. But Gibsonia was pretty cool. People were real nice too. It seemed. No idea where the hell I've been. Well, stay peaceful. Praise God and all.